My name is Jennifer, and I've lived in Paulsbo most of my life. I work here at Gateway Fellowship, and I do accounts receivable and payroll and fax billing.
As a child, you learn to survive without Christ. And the way you survive is you're angry. You got to beat the bully because you're picked on. You have no salvation. You have no peace in your life. And you are just angry. I did cause problems. I was a wrecking ball. Everywhere you go, you are just making a mess. Growing up without knowing Jesus and having that model, you treat everybody poorly. You treat your family poorly. You treat even yourself poorly. You have almost, for me, very little self-respect. The only thing that didn't make me angry was my wife.
Growing up, I had a little bit of a hard time growing up. From the age of 4 to the age of 8, I was sexually abused. And I grew up in a home where my stepdad didn't have children until I was about 9 years old. And so from the age of 1 to 9, I grew up where I was kind of a nuisance and unwanted. And that left me feeling very confused, very broken, and very hurt. There's a lot of stumbling blocks that come with all of those things: sexual abuse and just confusion, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, and it's very lonely. It's very confusing, isolating. You're just lost. I carried those broken pieces with me for a very long time. I carried those things as they were my own, little pieces of secrets and shame, nasty little secrets that only I knew that were the truth of who I was.
I met my wife in the 4th grade. I became smitten with her in the 6th grade. We fell in love very early on, and we married early. And that was the one person in my life that I knew I wanted to treat better, but I just didn't have the tools, and I just didn't know what love looked like. And I always told my wife that today I'm going to do my best, and my best will get better. But putting that burden on yourself and through your own works, sometimes it just isn't enough.
I couldn't fill the roles that I was being called to fill, being a wife, being a mother. I turned to alcohol. I turned to prescription anti-anxiety medicine. I mixed the two. It made me what I thought was delightfully skinny. I was just a husk of a person. I was out in my garden. I would go out in my garden. I would take my glass of wine. I would let my kids play. And I would dig in the earth. And I just remember crying to God. And Leo and I were not connecting. We were not together. We were just existing. We'd put on a good front for everybody. I remember just saying, God, help me. Help me. And God has this way of just connecting with you. And I remember him just saying, buckle up. Like, buckle up. It's going to be bumpy. It's going to be hard to undo where you've gotten to today. Just kept digging in the dirt and praying, God, heal me. Don't let this be who I am. So after I buckled up, God started slowly bringing Leo and I back together. We had some experiences with a weekend to remember, and we sat in our car, and Leo started talking to me, and my husband doesn't cry very much, and he started crying, and he just said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that we've made it here. And I realized that I wasn't sorry. I was grateful that we had made it here, and we had held on. We'd held on to each other, and we'd held on to this promise that it will get better.
And what that did for me was the only thing that I had left was to look at God. That's all I had left. And I prayed like I have never prayed before. And I said, okay, God, I'm putting you first now. I've been making this up as I go, but I'm now going to make Jesus first in my life.
So I've chosen to make Jesus first in my marriage. By seeking Jesus first, I can really be the wife that I'm called to be. I make Jesus first in surrendering myself. I surrender myself to Jesus first every day in my marriage, in motherhood, and in my job, in my career.
Jesus is first in my life when I love my wife. Love is more than an attitude. It's more than a feeling. There's a lot of things that we bring to the table where we're inadequate. And if you put God first in your life, when you're trying to love your wife, He will make you better. He will make you whole. Christ will make you whole so you can love your family the way God intended to. Jesus is first when I love my wife. Jesus is first when I love my children. Jesus is first in my life.